It is the big deal across Major League Baseball, and we have to talk about it. It is the Red Sox sending third baseman DH Rafael Devers to the to the San Francisco Giants, for Jordan Hicks, Kyle Harrison, and 2 prospects. And I am going to tell you this right now. I don't know much about the prospects. I did a dive on one of them. The name was familiar enough going through old draft stuff, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I was locked into the Richmond Flying Squirrels or whomever that the Giants prospects were playing for. I wasn't. I'm not even going to pretend like I was. I can tell you about Kyle Harrison. I can tell you about Jordan Hicks, and I can certainly tell you about the player that Rafael Devers is. I'm going to start with this. I understand the want and maybe almost the need for the Red Sox to trade Rafael Devers. It has become a poisonous relationship. That relationship had become toxic. It had run its course. And I know that the player and the ownership group were not on speaking terms, almost. I shouldn't say we're not on speaking terms. We're not eye to eye, and it felt like it was very contentious. So, little backstory that for those that may not know. Rafael Devers has been a third baseman for the Red Sox for quite some time. Devers was disgruntled when the Red Sox signed Alex Bregman and asked Devers to move positions. Bregman is a Gold Glove winning third baseman. Devers is one of the worst defensive third basemen in baseball by most metrics. They asked him to go play second. He basically told them to kick rocks. He told them, I was signed to be a third baseman. I'm going to be a third baseman. And they said, yeah, we'll see about that. So then Tristan Casas gets hurt, the Red Sox first baseman, and they said, hey, would you consider playing first base? And he said, kick rocks. So he finally decided he was going to be a DH. And I talked about this on the morning show with John Marks today. I understand the mindset is different as a DH as opposed to being a position player. You have to stay active as a DH and while the team is in the field in between your at-bats. But Rafael Devers is a terrible defensive third baseman. And so, with that being said, Devers really is a full-time DH at this point. And Devers signed I believe a $300 million deal a few years ago. He has 8 years left on his contract. It was $313 million to be exact. He has eight years left on that $313 million deal. The San Francisco Giants are now going to pay all of Rafael Devers' remaining salary on this contract. What they got in exchange, I think, was in part, what the Red Sox got in exchange was in part because the Red Sox because of the Giants are going to take on all of the remainder of the money. They got Jordan Hicks, they got Kyle Harrison, and they got 2 prospects. I'm going to start with Jordan Hicks because I don't need to talk too much about Hicks so far this year. His ERA speaks for itself. He has a 6 ERA this season. Jordan Hicks should never have become a starter. I understand starters get paid more. I understand nobody wants to be a reliever if you have the starter option available. Jordan Hicks is a flamethrower who I believe is best suited for a back end of the bullpen role. He was a closer with the Cardinals. He wanted to start. There were reports that the Phillies offered him a contract the year he was a free agent, but it was to be a reliever. And he said, nah, I want to be a starter. And the Giants said, sure, come be a starter for us. Jordan Hicks shouldn't be a starter. Jordan Hicks does not have, I don't believe, possesses the stamina and the arm, the length to be a starter as, can you throw 90 pitches consistently? He can do it, but I wouldn't want him on the mound for 90 or 95 pitches. I want Jordan Hicks throwing 20 pitches as hard as he possibly can every other night, as opposed to every 5th night throwing 90, 95 pitches. I don't think Jordan Hicks is a viable starter. The Giants thought so, and I would imagine he might slide into the rotation for the Red Sox, but I just think that that's a nothing move for me. The 2 pieces that I think are the selling point of this trade, we'll start with the major leaguer in Kyle Harrison. He gives up a lot of hard contact. He's got good stuff. He's only 23. I think that the Red Sox will be able to mold him and work with him as his career progresses. But he gives up a lot of hard contact, and he's in the 2nd percentile in average exit velocity this season after finishing last year in the 6th percentile. Now he's got good swing and miss stuff. but his consistency hasn't been there just yet. His velo now has increased. So last year he was throwing about 93, 93 and a half. This year he's up to 95. But it's kind of telling, is it not, that for one of the major leaguers that they acquired, the Red Sox are optioning him to AAA. So he's not going to be with the Red Sox major league team. He's going down to AAA. So you acquired a flamethrower who's got, there you go, Ray Schumacher puts the numbers up, 6.47 ERA, and a guy who has good stuff but is inconsistent. You've sent him down to AAA. And the third guy that I want to mention is James Tibbs, who becomes the Red Sox 6th ranked prospect. He has a 55 power tool, a 55 hit tool. The guy can hit. There's no doubt about it. Right now, he's hitting 256 in high A, but 12 of his 51 hits so far this year are home runs. The pop is there. I think he's going to be a legit power hitter. Not a great athlete from the reports. Again, I'm reading off of prompts. Like, I'm reading off of prospect reports. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I watched his games. I think he was with Greensboro before the trade. I'm not going to pretend like I've watched a ton of his games. In fact, I'm not going to pretend like I watched any of his games. But the report is average athlete, fielding's fine, good arm, power bat is what's the selling point. But he's in single A. So you're telling me the return on investment were two prospects, one of which might pan out, and Jordan Hicks and Kyle Harrison for 8 years of a legit bona fide slugger in Rafael Devers? Seems light to me. So I texted a friend of mine who is born and raised in the Connecticut area, but Boston fan through and through, Red Sox fan through and through. And I texted him, and I just said, what? And he said, surprising, but not unexpected. And I said, I'm just stunned the return they got. Feels light. And here was his response. Could be a few different things, but here's my take so far. Incredibly messy behind the scenes, and they needed to get him out ASAP. So messy, they decided it's not worth paying him over $300 million. Trade value for a $300 million DH is not going to be very high. So basically, the return was the money back. Said his hope was in them shedding the big contracts. Then he gave me the laughing emoji as hope that maybe they sell the team. But I think the thought is maybe they'll be buyers next free agency. And the next free agent pool includes Kyle Tucker. It includes potentially Pete Alonso. There's some names out there that the Red Sox could go after. But those are maybes. Those are what ifs. Those are, can we court you and do you want to come play for us? It takes two to tango in the free agent market. Rafael Devers is under contract for 8 years. An elephant in the room asks a fair question. Would he still be a slugger is it still Oracle Park? I thought the same thing. The answer to that question, elephant in the room, is yes, he would. Because I asked the exact same question, and McCovey Cove is going to be kind to him. Now, will he go into the power alley, that deep alley in right center field? Possible. Will it be more flyouts in that spot? Also possible. But the spray chart that I looked at was very kind to Rafael Devers, and I'm going to try to do this on the air really quickly. I think the numbers were fairly good home run wise if he would have played in San Francisco. So yeah, last year he hit 25 home runs, or would have he hit 28 home runs, excuse me. If he played every game and hit every ball that he hit out of the yard at Fenway, he would have had 25. At Oracle, he would have had 28. The year he hit 43, he would have had 42 in Oracle. Still a very, very good player. So there may be some balls that he hits in the right center field gap that get tracked down that might have been home runs in certain places. But yeah, the power numbers aren't going to fall off too much. But it was an interesting point because effectively this thing has been sapped so far. This relationship has been sapped so far that the Red Sox felt like we're going to move off this contract, get what we can, and reevaluate next offseason.